Hi, what's up, guys? I hope everybody is having a good week and trying to finish strong. Anyhow, with I came up with two things that I want to explain concerning analyzing data. So the article that from Blackboard by Ruth Hubbard. Um, this was the first one, and I wanted to compare that similarly to the other article, the other definition, which suits the article very well, which involves collection and data analysis process. So the article by Ruth from the research workshop, she begins with an introduction and then she goes on to, um, you know, to a figure 5.10, which explains the Pat Skeeler's research plan. I think that pretty much sums up the collection and data analysis process. And with this, she explains how do young children carry out research. I guess this one could be could answer the question of ways that um, research can impact ways that research can impact learning. So the first thing that she says she tackles is procedures. Procedures, the time frame is very important. The data gathering, data analysis is crucial. And with the procedures, excuse me, with the procedures, you know, it will the research will be based off the observations, interviews, um, excuse me, research interviews samples from approximate approximately sixth graders, which is an example that she used here from community elementary schools. Um, okay, and with the time frame, which is the second thing, which can also relate to our research and what we're doing in collecting data. This is almost exactly the same thing, but just I guess a different approach. So the time frame, you know, like for example, I'm doing in my research, doing a high school, studying music technology pedagogy, and in my research, I'm focused on the time frame that I have to interview the person and to get the information that I need and going straight to the point. So just as she says in her example, um, carrying out the research over a 6 month period. In this case, with observations, it's once a week. You know, and trying to like um, settle within the classroom and observe what are the procedures that go on in the classroom and try to suit it to the time frame of that classroom and actually get information. The same thing goes with the interview and just like ethnography, which is what I'm doing, is getting in and to know exactly what the information is and what to pull out of the interview transcript. Okay. The next thing is gathering the data. And with gathering the data, that involves, of course, the interviews, the field notes, samples of data or work which is carried out by myself in this case, and the questions asked in the interview. And so, for example, I would ask in my interview question, how are how are the students rather, um, using, the pedagogy or um, things that are taught in the classroom, to go out into the real world and to use it in everyday life. So since the students are studying technology, music technology, some of them go on to be music producers, and some of them go on to work at radio stations and so on. How they in the real world how they would use this. So this would be part of my data gathering. Um, data collection, and this will be part of the field notes that I'm taking. Okay, and also samples. And last but not least, the data analysis. Um, in my interview transcript, I would have all the field notes that that I gathered, and all the sample data, and find in analysis I would have to find a way, a pattern, and sort of coding for lack of another word. So coding would be the correct word to actually take the information and to put it into a large amount of information and putting it into specific headings and themes. Okay. Um, yeah, and developing trends and certain curiosities that would actually be specific and relate back to a literature review. So this deals with analysis and data collection. The next point that I have is the importance of triangulation. And from what my research, doing research and reading from the book, triangulation is meant to strengthen research or validate your research, to strengthen it and to make it better. And with triangulation, there are different, multiple theories and materials or methods that are used. Okay, for example, data source triangulation, which is using evidence from different types of data sources, such as primary and secondary research or interviews, like I said, documents, public records, and photographies and observations, so on. And there are the methodology triangulations, which is combining multiple methods to gather data, such as the documents, interviews, and so on, questionnaires, surveys. And there are there's theory triangulation, which is using more than one triangular approach of theory to interpret and support data. All right, and also within that, how you can learn from this, or how this can happen, is that you use additional sources of information. Often, it gives more insight into a topic. Um, like for example, in our literature review, we find that certain inadequacies, which are found in one source of data, is minimized when multiple sources confirm the same data. Okay, so it's finding out information that we don't already know, or which may validate the research. Um, Using multiple sources, for example, provide a verification and validation while complementing the similar data. Okay, more comprehensive data also, is collected in order to validate the information. And we have some forms of validity, which are the face validity, concurrent validity, and prediction validity, and constructive validity, which speaks for itself. And also, excuse me, in the data source triangulation, um, which is dealing with using information and data to obtain through secondary research, and finding data sets that complement one another in accomplishing by using multiple types of sources, and this increases the credibility of your research. For instance, complementing something in a written document with relevant statistics from public records, or visual confirmation with historical photographs, and so on. So in my case, I would have to find a syllabus that explains exactly what the whole curriculum is about in terms of musical pedagogy, and how the students, how it's a problem that enough programs in maybe the state of Florida doesn't have a comparison, can actually emulate what the syllabus contains. Okay. Um, and in the methodology type of triangulation, um, for instance, if you're collecting data from two different methods or approaches, which you would collect your data to obtain different information, which provides data sets that complement one another. Okay, so that's the type of methodology. You could even combine those data sets with results from conducting an observation or combining it with another study by using data source triangulation. So using like multiple sources in order to come up with, or kind of manipulating information from one thing to from the other article to another article, or from one interview transcript to another video, and all combining it in one form of research, which would actually validate your research. And then there's a theory triangulation, and um, this is sort of different because it does not so much integrate results that show more validity. Instead, what it does, it helps you to better understand while you make sense of data and information. So, for instance, you might find a theory that undermines the credibility of a data set when another theory is applied. When this occurs, the strength of the data for your research purpose is hindered. So, um, when two competing theories can both support data for your research purposes, um, it will include. Excuse me. Let me repeat that. When two competing theories can both support data, the information is appropriate to include in your paper. And when they do not, the information is better left out of your paper. While sometimes competing theories might support the findings under each other, this does not normally occur with this type of data triangulation. However, you employ the process of triangulation of data, it strengthens your paper by increasing to overall validity and credibility of the sets of data sets and information that you use. And this method of combining different aspects of research from multiple places, theories, or methods is easily undertaken for any type of research you conduct. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and this can be used as a way of kind of helping us to make our research more accurate and more valid, and that everything would be under themes, um, whatever your interview transcripts and so on. Maybe a lot of information, but if we actually try to pick the most sensible things that are part of our project, which can be obtained to validate the research that we conduct, then this could be make your research more valid and more straight to the point than trying to stray away. Thank you.